Well, good morning, Eric. It's great to see you, and thank you for spending time with me today. And because I know our Vistage members will really benefit from, and others will benefit from the conversation that we've had. So I'm especially excited. I've seen you three different times with my members, and all of which have benefited greatly from all of your wisdom and knowledge. Matter of fact, I've been in marketing and sales for my whole career, and every time I get a chance to spend time with you, I learn stuff. So I'm going to learn some more stuff today. So I think that's going to be great. As I want to kind of introduce you to the group, I'd like to read a bit of your background so people get a feel for who you are and what you've accomplished and kind of frame up today. Is that okay?
Sounds great. Thank you.
All right. So Eric's a leading sales and marketing strategist focusing on pioneering a new breed of business solutions. Eric, along with his partner, coined the concept reality marketing. We'll come back to that one to describe how small and medium-sized businesses can utilize cost-effective marketing tactics to achieve dramatic growth. He is the editor of a weekly newsletter reaching more than 15,000 business owners and entrepreneurs that are focused on this topic. A popular public speaker, Eric has provided expert insight on panels and radio appearances throughout the national business community. He also hosts Square to Marketing monthly free workshop series to help business owners learn effective marketing for their businesses. Eric, we're both hometown guys in the Philadelphia, Delaware Valley area, so welcome.
Thank you. I'm really excited to be here today.
Great. Well, I'm just looking at some of the things that you like to talk about, and I think number one is building a powerful marketing machine for mid-sized business owners, which is typically our Vistage owners. Tell me a little bit more about that.
Well, I mean, most companies have systems for operations. They have systems for hiring people in HR. They have systems for taking care of the money or their accounting or finance components. But very few companies really have a marketing machine, or in other words, a marketing process or system to continuously drive revenue and hit that monthly revenue target, annual revenue target, and so forth. And the challenge with not hitting your targets is that you don't have the cash flow that you have for the rest of the strategic plan for the year. So hitting the target really helps the rest of the business fund all the activities that they had planned for.
Yeah, well, this is certainly something that keeps business owners and CEOs up at night, and how do you actually do that? So one of the things you talk about is positioning companies as remarkable. How does all that work?
Well, if you have nothing interesting to say about your business, please do not spend any money on marketing, right? Because you're just going to look like everybody else. And when given three companies that all look exactly the same, which one do you buy from? The cheapest. And nobody on this call wants to be the lowest cost provider of their industry. We all want to get the premium price for providing the premium product or service. And in order to do that, you have to differentiate yourself. You have to establish the fact why you're the obvious choice to do business with. And we do that by telling stories about our company that directly will eliminate the pains and problems of your prospective clients and make them go, yes, these are the folks that I should be spending money with. Now, it sounds kind of easy, and it actually really is, because most of the folks that are on this call that have been in business, let's say more than 3 years, they're already doing remarkable things, or they wouldn't be in business 3 years. The secret is, how do they tell that story? And I'll give you a quick example. I came in early for a speaking engagement, and the host took me out for dinner. And we're sitting around and we're chatting about business, and he's telling me all of these fabulous things that he's doing at his company. I wake up the next morning, I check out his website. Literally not one of those stories is on his website. And that's what we typically find, is that there's a breakdown between the fabulous inside reality of mid-market and entrepreneurial companies versus the outside perception that the world sees. And if you can fix that bridge and make people understand all the wonderful things you can do to help them with their challenges, people start writing checks right away.
That's great. Well, one of the things you talk about, how do you do that and slash your marketing budget? I mean, how do those two things go together?
Yeah. So one of the things that people lean into when they don't have any other good marketing messaging strategy is advertising, right? Oh, we'll spend $10,000 a month on Google search. We'll spend $8,000 a month on LinkedIn advertising. And that's fine, but only if you have a good story. So it doesn't cost anything to think about the following questions. Who's our favorite client? And what pains and problems do they have? And how can we solve those problems and do it in such a remarkable way that people talk about us? And when people talk about you, you get buzz, word of mouth, referrals, and referrals don't cost a dime. So you can literally reduce your advertising budget and increase your lead flow simply by telling a richer story about your company and then demonstrating that you can make people's pains and problems go away.
You tell a couple of really great stories. So how about you pick one, either the purple cow or the one on the pizza? I mean, in the business that you have. So I mean, these are pretty great and memorable stories, as I recall.
Yeah. I mean, look, if differentiation is our topic, the absolute go-to resource for that is the book called The Purple Cow. And it's not my book. It's a book by Seth Godin, who wrote the book. He talks about how if we're driving out in the country and we start to see some cows, one brown cow, another brown cow, after a while, you don't even notice the cows anymore because there's nothing that interesting about just another brown cow. But then we come around a bend and we see a purple cow. What would we do? Stop the car, jump out, take pictures. David, you're texting all your buddies. I'm on the phone to my mom. Mom, you're not going to believe it. There's a purple cow in the middle of this field. Get over here. And before you know it, there's 1,000 people standing outside the fence looking at this remarkable purple cow. Well, that's the job of the business leader, is to craft a story so interesting that people want to talk about you. They refer their friends. They buzz about you at industry trade shows and conferences. And that is by far the first step, is to turn your company into a purple cow. In my 20 plus years of helping entrepreneurial companies, David, I have never had a client who I couldn't take a couple of things they were doing and position it as remarkable. And by the way, the remarkable definition has two parts. It has to be unique to your company, and it has to be interesting enough that someone will tell their buddy. So we actually just went through this exercise a few days ago. I was in New York City working with another Vistage group, and a gentleman couldn't figure out a way that he could tell a story about how to implement his new technology. And he had a business that actually protected building owners with sensors in case there was a gas leak or a water leak or rodents or some mold or stuff like that. And we came up with something called the 5 Ds. The discovery, let's meet with your building and see what's going on, make sure we're fit. The diagnostic, we'll answer questions. We'll do a complete audit of your systems. The design of your personal plan on how we're going to protect your building, the delivery of that, and then the dashboard so you know that everything's working. Well, he was doing all those things anyway, but he couldn't tell that story in a succinct way. So now he's got a way to go to market. Let me tell you about our 5 Ds process, which is unique to his company and interesting enough that one building owner would tell their buddy.
You are truly amazing, because you went around in each one of the 3 Vistage groups, and we had somewhere between 14 or 15 members, and you had at least a half a dozen said, well, wait a minute, my business is, and you went around and gave them some great ideas in terms of how to do that, just like you did with that member in New York, because just being able to sit down and think about that, people remember those kinds of things, whether it could be numeric framing, whether it could be the 5 Ds or whatever. It's as simple as that, as putting together that kind of plan for your business. And then what do you do with it once you get it? So what are some of the other things you recommend at a low-cost basis that a mid-market business owner probably would have in his budget to deal with?
Yeah, so now that we have this differentiator, or remarkable as we call it, you got to put it into play. The easiest way is post it to your website, right? So now we have a page that we could direct people to that talks about this specific product or service that is unique or remarkable. Secondly, you got to get buy-in from your team. So I would huddle the team together and I would explain to them, hey, our process that we've been doing for however many years, this is how we're going to talk about it now. Most people will be very engaged, but the salespeople sometimes are a little bit tough because they've been doing it their way forever. A little bit of buy-in from them goes a long way, because they'll see as soon as they start to present the company's offerings in a more interesting way, their prospects will respond and they'll have better results, and then they won't shut up about it. So buy-in for your team and explaining and communicating that this is the way we're going to go to market would be the second move I would do. And then once that's all set up and everybody's on the same page, then I would start pushing it out. Start to feature it in your monthly email campaign. Email marketing costs nothing. I would push it out on social media, something interesting for the people that follow you. I might conduct a webinar and invite anybody who's interested to sit in and hear a Zoom presentation on your new product or service description, or how you go to market for that. And all of those things are either zero or very, very little cost that you can start. Now, when you start to get some traction and you fine tune it, then you could start to invest a little money in some campaigns to really push it out to people that you haven't met before.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense. Now, I also seem to recall we had a discussion about not only is this great for marketing to generate qualified leads, sprinkle your present customers with these kind of stories, but also builds a culture within your organization with your own people.
Absolutely. If you could get everybody to create a everybody sells mentality, right? Understanding that the success of the company is all of our jobs. Well, now we have lots of people talking about it. So, it cascades all the way down to everybody in the organization. Anybody as simple as a customer service representative can hear something on the phone from a client, prospect, or existing client and say, oh, that sounds like you'd be a good fit for this. May I introduce you to our business development team? They could take you a little further along the way. And that's a really great way to engage your team of 20, 40, 100 people at your company to help you move the needle forward.
Well, that's great. That's great. Just one last question. I seem to remember something about a blue-red test that we had talked about. What was, refresh my memory on that, because that was really part and parcel of what we had talked about, as I recall.
Yeah, the blue-red test is a really simple way to check that you're making your message about them and not about you. Human nature says that we like to talk about ourselves a lot more than we like to talk about the other person, right? We go to a cocktail party, you and I are hanging out, we meet a person, they start telling us everything about them. They're not even asking any questions about us. After a while, you and I are like, let's hit the bar. The same thing happens in marketing. It's easy to talk about our 50,000 square foot facility and the fact that we're family owned and operated and we've been in business 23 years. It's much harder to address the pains and problems of the prospects and show them that you can make those pains and problems go away. The red and blue test simply encourages you to take any piece of sales or marketing collateral, get a red pen, get a blue pen, and every time you talk about yourself, circle it in red. And every time you address the pains and problems of your prospects, circle it in blue. You simply have to have a lot more blue circles than red circles to make an effective marketing message. I know you want to boast about your 400 delivery vehicles and the fact that your team wins lots of awards, and there is an important place for that part of the story, but it's closer to the end of the sales journey as you're validating why you're the obvious choice to do business with. The lead story has to be, hey, prospect, let me show you how I can make your pains and problems go away.
Sure. That's what we do every day, right? You got a problem. What do? You're looking for somebody to solve it, looking for something that, hey, I can relate to that. And they're talking to me. And so I totally get that. And so don't our members. So, Eric, I think we're going to be out of time here, but I do just want to, one last comment. You've spoken to a ton of Vistage groups, and any observations that you want to share about Vistage and benefits that you see our members are able to get from the experiences through Vistage?
Well, I think Vistage is a fabulous, peer-to-peer experience sharing opportunity. When I started my very first business too many years ago, I was very lonely because I was the weird guy who was an entrepreneur, not a corporate person. And now you have the beautiful advantage of having groups like Vistage available that when you are running your business and you are confronting challenges, you can join and immediately get a 15-person de facto board of directors that's kind of having the same issues and can experience the ways they got out of the pickle that you are in today, because everybody has pretty much the same problems in Vistage. And I just think it's a wonderful place, a safe place also to share some of your biggest challenges and get the learnings of your peers to help you on the road to success.
Eric, that's great. Hey, I know some of our viewers may want to contact you. And so what is the best way to do that? Because maybe they need some help in terms of getting their marketing going, their messaging going, which is really what you're focusing a ton on. And so how would somebody get in touch with you, Eric? What's the best way?
So they should definitely check out square2marketing.com. That's square, the number 2, marketing.com. That's our website that not only tells all about our company and the people that we have, but it'll give you a ton of free resources. There's podcasts and videos and tools that you can use, and lots of white papers and tip sheets on different topics. So I would definitely check out square2marketing.com for a great start on your entrepreneurial journey to success.
So if you're a business owner and you're up at night and you're ruminating about your inability to attract some new customers, you got a place to go, and that's it. Square Two Marketing. So
every frustrated entrepreneur is welcome at square2marketing.com.
How cool is that? Eric, it's been great. Thank you so much.
You got it, David. I'll talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.